Welcome back to another episode of With Love Mama, the podcast. I'm Tanika, but before we dive into today's episode, I just want to say a huge thank you for being here. This podcast was created to feel like a safe space where women can exhale, feel seen, feel informed, and feel a little less alone in whatever season they're moving through. So if the conversations that we've had have supported you in any way, one of the most beautiful ways that you can support the show is by subscribing, leaving a rating, or sharing an episode with another woman who needs to hear it too. It genuinely helps our podcast to grow and reach more women navigating preconception, pregnancy, birth, postpartum, and beyond. So let's get into today's episode. Today we have Cara joining us to share her birth stories. How are you going?
Good. How are you?
I'm so good. As I just mentioned, baby brain is in full swing today, so we're just going to see how we go, but I've been doing well considering. I would love to start off with you taking us back to your first birth and just describing the energy you walked into that space with.
Yeah, so I gave birth to my daughter Delilah 2.5 years ago now. She's 3 this year. That's wild.
Goes so
Um,
fast.
yeah, and I was 22 when I had my daughter. So going in, I knew nothing. I did that on purpose. I think there's so many stories out there that were quite scary to me. So I just thought if I went in not knowing anything, I wouldn't have that fear in the back of my mind. I don't think that was a great idea now, but yeah, I just felt really unsure going into it.
What did that actually feel like for you as labor was unfolding, being
It
so
was
blind to the
really, yeah,
experience?
it was really scary. I think not being in control of your body is super scary
Mm,
just in itself. And when you're in labor, your body's in control, not your mind. And
mm.
so I think not having my mind controlling what was happening was really daunting, just made me really stressed.
Yeah, of course, especially if, you're so used to having so much control over your body and everything in everyday life and you've gone into
Yeah.
it not knowing what to expect. It would have felt like the intensity would have, and I'm not meaning to put words in your mouth, but it would have felt like a lot.
Yeah, no, it was wild, to be honest.
Yeah. Um, so you also like mentioned that you actually hemorrhaged
Mhm.
with this when you sent in your birth story. And that sounds like that's
Yeah.
pretty huge. Like, how did that actually shape the way that you like viewed your whole experience?
Yeah, so I think because it was towards the end. So my labor it was quite like normal,
Hmm.
I guess, if you want to put a label on it. And then when I was giving birth to my placenta, it kind of there were still bits left, so it didn't fully come out. It tore, it didn't break. And so when they were doing the massage, the fundal massage, I just blood just
Mm.
gushing. My partner was quite scared. I was quite scared. I didn't know what was happening. And they were just watching. They were like, "Oh, we're just watching your blood." But then more people started to come in, and it did get a bit. I didn't know what was going on. I just had this baby on my chest, and I was
Yeah.
freaking out a little bit. I didn't get to a level where I needed a blood transfusion, but I was quite close. Yeah.
Yeah. And how does that actually feel for you, even reflecting on now years later?
Okay, I think if I was told more what was happening, I wouldn't have felt so scared. I was quite scared just at the amount of people that were coming in and out and checking like what was happening. And my partner had no idea what was going on. And he said that I just did not look. I didn't look with it just because the amount of blood I was losing. I was pale. I wasn't like paying attention what was going on. Just wasn't there.
Yeah. And do you think that impacted your partner as well through postpartum?
Yeah, no, he said that it just was such a scary experience for him not being able to help me.
Yeah. So what did like preparation look like for you like the second time round? Like, did you decide like you wanted your birth to be different?
Yeah, I made a lot of, I think, mental changes, and just I didn't actually go to the same hospital just because I didn't like the way that did unfold. So I was like, well, I'll try. Not that I think everyone's experience is different at each hospital, but I just decided not to go
Mhm.
back to that particular hospital. So I changed hospitals, and even just the midwife visits that I had during the start, I felt heard, and I felt like things were getting explained to me more. So that was really amazing. But yeah, I just went in just more grounded, I feel like. Like I was more aware of what my body was doing and that it was okay to let my body do what it needed to do. I
Yeah.
think, yeah, with my first, I was trying to control what was happening, and you can't, like, you just can't
You can
like
try
stop yourself
so
from doing
hard.
things. Yeah, you literally try. And it's just, I think it made me more stressed like that first time around. So the second time I kind of really was listening to what my body was saying.
Yeah, so do you feel like you did like sort of personal development on yourself in a sense before going into that experience, as well as did you like do any like like classes or hypnobirthing, or did you sort of incorporate anything like that in the preparation?
Yeah, so I didn't go to any classes. I didn't the first time or the second
Yeah,
time. I think I listened to a lot more stories.
beautiful.
Yeah, so Australian birth stories, I listened to a lot of them, and I don't know, I think I just was more focused on breathing through it this time. I guess that's like kind of touches on that hypnobirthing kind of section. Yeah,
But you don't even need to do like a whole, I think
no,
that's the thing as well. Like it's because at the end of the day, like even the first experience you had, you didn't actually know what you were in for and you still did it. And
yeah,
that's like the thing is like your body knows what to do. So you don't need to go and do a whole, like I don't believe you need to go do like a whole hypnobirthing course to know how to breathe your baby out, for
no.
example. Let's actually talk about that. Like, what did that connection to your body and your baby feel like in that intensity of labor the second time around?
Yeah, so the second time my labor was really short. So well, they were both quite short when you just compare. I don't like to compare like birth stories, but so my first was 6 hours and my second was 4. So
Super.
they were quite short. So the second time I feel like I just knew where he was.
Hmm.
I just could feel I stayed at home quite a long time. So when I got to the hospital, I think there was 2 hours, maybe an hour and a half, and he was here. So
Yes.
I was not in the labor center that long. I just felt like I knew where he was,
Mm.
like in my body. Like I knew where his head was, I knew the way his body was sitting, and I just knew when I was ready, like to go
Yeah.
to the hospital. And yeah,
And I think as well, like, when you become a mum, you get connected to such a deeper layer of intuition than you even thought you could. You can't grasp it prior to motherhood. I personally don't believe. So you've got that layer as well going in your second time of knowing that through your postpartum with your first, there's so many moments of you have to just quite literally trust your gut. And
Mhm.
that's like a muscle, that intuition. You're building that every day being a mum. So then going into labor for the second time, you've got a lot more self-trust
Yeah.
most of the time. What do you think was your biggest internal difference moving through compared like your first and your second birth? Like what was the biggest internal mental difference for you?
I think that I felt more prepared.
Yeah.
I think that was the main difference. I didn't do anything,
Hmm.
but I think that just it being the second time, I was like, oh, I know that I wasn't afraid of the pain, and I was aware of what my body was doing, as I was saying. And yeah, like I knew the feelings and I wasn't scared to have them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that first time as well, when you've never experienced it, like you can have listened to all these birth
Yeah.
stories, you can have everyone around you telling you, oh, it's just like this, it's just like this. But at the end of the day, we aren't like cardboard copies of each other. Whatever that saying is.
Yeah.
Clearly, the baby brain is literally so active right now, but we're not cookie cutters of each other. That's what I'm trying to
Yeah.
get to. So, like, you can listen to it all, but like until you experience it, like you can't even like really put anything to it. So that makes so much sense that you'd been through it before. So when it started, you were like, okay, I know what's happening. I know what I'm in for. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so I would also just love to ask, like, if there's any women listening who may have felt potentially like disappointed by their first birth, or like they went into it and they were just like, oh my gosh, that felt so much harder than I was expecting. Similar to what you experienced going in and sort of being like, oh my goodness, I had no idea what I'm in for. What would you want them to know about the possibility of a different experience the second time around?
Yeah. Look, I think I really mentally was telling myself that I needed the second one to, I guess, be healing. I don't know if that was like a good thing, because you just don't know. You never know what's going to happen.
Mm.
Like you can prepare and prepare and prepare for birth, but there's no pathway to know what is actually going to happen. So I think just being open to what your body is doing and obviously listening to the medical professionals to an extent to what you're comfortable with, I think it just lets you like sink into your birth, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes so much sense. Like you're basically just saying like the surrender piece. And
Yeah.
I think that's like it's the best, it's honestly the best piece of advice because we move through life very much in that like masculine control, like trying to like always know what's going on and prepare and plan. And yes, going into birth, you can prepare and you can plan, but it's also, I think, the most important piece of advice, like you just said, is surrendering. And do you feel as though the expectation that you like silently kind of had on yourself to have a more healing birth, do you feel like you actually succeeded in that?
Yeah, I did. I think I did. I am so happy with how the second one turned out. I got my water birth. I just, I don't know, I just listened to myself and I really advocated for myself and what I wanted.
Mm.
And if it like, it just worked out, which
Yeah.
is really
That is like so beautiful, like, and such a beautiful note to end the episode on as well is like you literally can just surrender to what's going on and have the most beautiful experience. And I love that although your first experience, like you said, it wasn't like it was traumatic or anything, but you were still able to reclaim your power in that through that second birth and achieve such a healing experience.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on the podcast and sharing today. That was such a nice episode. Thank you so much for listening to another guest episode on With Love Mama, the podcast. If you would love to share your own conception, birth, or postpartum journey on our podcast, I'd be absolutely honored to hear from you. There's a link below in the show notes, and your story could be medicine for another mother that is listening. Until next time, honor your body, trust in your wisdom, and remember, you were, in fact, made for this. Love you.